Madeline Skoblik, she's with DDC as well, Lucian.
Great. Okay. All right, I'm gonna. Okay, well, you go ahead, and then I'm gonna take the screen off so it's a little easier for me to manage.
Okay, I just wanted to.
The meeting.
Okay, I just texted Mitch, so just see. All right, so are we being recorded?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I see Jill's here. Hi, Jill. Hi, Francis. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to February's Quality of Life meeting. If you feel comfortable, would you please turn your cameras on so I can see you? I understand if you don't feel comfortable, but I love seeing faces. I feel like I'm talking to a blank wall. So, if you're comfortable, turn them on. Welcome, everybody. We're going to get started. So, as many of you know, every other month to have them from DDC, and now I think tonight we have Con Ed with us too, and they come and they tell us about all the projects that are taking place in our community, what the status is, and we can ask questions. So we're going to get started. Who's gonna start? Frankie, you gonna lead us into this discussion?
Sure, I could start.
Yes.
Whoever wants to start.
Well, Dushyant.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yes, how are you? Yeah, so
I'm okay.
yeah, I'm fine. Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dushyant Rajput. I am an engineer in charge, Manhattan construction for Vz Street project and reconstruction of Vz Street. So I will start with the reconstruction of Vz Street. Currently, we are working at the last location, that is the intersection of Church and Vz Street. We have the remaining work around 100 linear feet of the sidewalk, the road restoration about 45 linear feet. All the work, the city work almost complete. We are waiting at this time for cone addition feeder work. That has been requested almost since January, the first week. And our DDC Deputy Commissioner also sent the order out, and also penalty later this month to Con Edison. And Con Edison was scheduled for the feeder outage work today, but I think up to 3:30, I didn't see any activities at the site. And once the feeder outage is taken care by the Con Edison, we will require like 3 to 4 weeks to complete the south side of the intersection and have the one-way traffic restored eastbound at the church intersection. And after that,
interrupt you. I didn't hear what
yes.
the intersection was.
Yeah, the Church Street, Worth and Church.
Worth and Church. Thank you.
Yeah, so that intersection is closed now for the traffic. So we are waiting for Con Edison feeder outage. That's the only one hurdle right now. And after that, we require like 3 to 4 weeks to restore the south side. And once that is restored, we have to construct one of the pad ramp at the corner of northeast corner of the church and Worth due to the supply chain issue. And so we are waiting for the granite curve for that one. So it looks like maybe by April, hopefully everything should be complete, provided the Cone Addition feeder is taken care of.
And so, I'm sorry, everything will be complete by when?
Some end of the April, I would say.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. You'll update us before then.
Right. So I think John Masiello is here, right? So maybe he can tell something about the feeder.
Yeah, for real.
Schedule.
Yeah, John's here.
Oh.
We can hear you, John.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so Dushyant is correct. We're waiting for a feeder outage to commence so that they can get our facilities out of the road base so they can continue with final restoration. It was scheduled to come out last night. There was a slight hiccup. It's still on the schedule to come out. I presumably believe it'll be out tonight, and I will have a better update tomorrow, and it's going to take about 2 to 3 days for them to reconfigure the conduits and the cable tie-in and then that will alleviate the interference. So probably by Monday, all that work will be completed on our end, and the contractor can commence with restoration, as Dushan had said.
This Monday, like 4 days from now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
it's most likely, depending on as far as like getting the crews out there and commencing with splicing.
Right.
But I'm definitely on the schedule, and there shouldn't be any hiccups as far as that's concerned. But yes.
Okay, so you two, Dushan, and you will stay in touch with each other, and hopefully all right. Sounds great. Do you have anything to tell us? Did I lose you? No.
Yeah.
Vz Street.
Yeah. So thank you, John, for the update.
Well, I'm sorry. Sorry, Dushan. If you're gonna move to another site, let me ask Liz a question. Are you moving away from Church and Worth?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about the Vz Street.
No.
Okay, so hold on a second. Let me just ask Liz a question. You know what I'm asking, Liz.
Yes, I know what you're asking. Are you hearing me? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
I am now.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. So basically, we're not going to move from there until we're finished with that work. And when we move from there, basically, it's to, as he said, open up one lane of traffic so that at least the people on that block can get back some modicum of life on the block. And ultimately, the game plan is to be finished with the project between now and somewhere between April, early May, and that should be it.
And so, are you in touch with Lee and the residents of their building?
Yeah, I don't remember. I give them an update. Like tomorrow is our progress meeting. So at that progress meeting, we'll find out what is going on with Con Ed, if they're really coming out. And I send it every 2 weeks. So I send you a copy as well. Yeah, that hasn't stopped. So after our progress meeting tomorrow, Friday, I send it out. That by then we know exactly what's what. If the date has shifted, if it's changed, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I don't know, Lucian. We haven't heard anything from Lee recently, right? In her residence.
I don't believe we've gotten anything in particular, but we've still been working with DOT regardless. There's a couple of punch list items that Lee and her neighbors have brought up that we are still pursuing. One of which is the destroyed bus shelter that's directly in front of 77 Worth Street. That bus shelter is not serving any purpose, and we've asked DOT to remove it. DOT said that, well, Jennifer from the borough office has requests into the street furniture, the department or division of DOT, and they will reach out to Liz and her team to coordinate the removal of it, because the MPT has to be moved if it's not moved already. But that's something that we're waiting on DOT to move on, not on DDC to move on at this point.
Liz, if you need any help from us, reach out to us, okay? We appreciate everything all of you do. Lucian, Mitch is trying to get back in. He said he.
Okay, I'll get.
Sorry, Liz.
That's okay. Jennifer contacted me, and I promised to send her some current photos of the bus shelter tomorrow. So I guess that will expedite whatever plans they have.
Okay, our Jennifer, because our Jennifer is gone.
And by
Which
our
Jennifer?
Pat means the Jennifer who is helping our office. She was a consultant who was working with our office.
Okay.
Not Jennifer Leon.
Did you
not
mean
Jennifer
Jen?
Leon.
I meant Jennifer. I meant Jennifer
Okay.
Leon. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now, Dushan, we're back with you. We're moving.
That's
Where are we
true.
moving to?
The Vz Street.
I'm sorry. I have one more question. And this may, I'm really sorry, Liz and Dushan, this may be something that you won't know until your progress meeting, but this step in the process where you're waiting for Con Ed to, do the feeders and clear the interference and pull the new cable and splice and do all those things. Is this going to push back your estimate of when you're going to close up this project?
No, if they are going to take care of by Monday or so, I don't see any issue to finish by almost like end of the April, the latest by end of the April.
April or May.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Could I just have a related question?
Who's that? Who's
Yes.
talking? Who's asking? Bob?
That was Bob Schneck.
Hey, Bob. Yep. You're muted, Bob. Bob, you're muted.
Am I?
Yep. There you go.
Yeah. There's certainly a timing problem when the coordination with Con Edison isn't working. But I wonder also, what does it cost? Does it cost the public something every day they don't work if the project is slowed down for 2 months? Are there penalties or, is there some way we could understand the impact of the of delays on the taxpayers and how this kind of thing works out?
Anybody?
I would hope that Dushan is better equipped to answer that question. I honestly don't know. I just look at it from a community standpoint of, not having back their property or, so I look at it from that standpoint. But in terms of monetary costs, you would have to
You look
defer
at
to
it from the
Dushan.
residents.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
But Pat, it was and Duchamp can correct me, but it's my understanding that this contract, the contractor has received their payment. They're not going to get any bonus for finishing early, but I don't, Duchamp, there's no additional payments they get if this is more protracted. Is that the case?
Yes, as we haven't paid any additional bonus or something to the contractor, and I won't expect anything. But if the contractor files the delay claims or something, that would be up to DDC legal. So I cannot answer 100% say yes or no, but I don't believe any bonus will be paid in this contract.
Somebody would have to file
The
a
other
claim.
a follow-on question from my point of view as a person who's managed projects with people working for me before. If I'm set up to kind of do something on Monday and nothing happens, then I have a bunch of guys who are standing out there or on the subway on the way to the project, and then I have to tell them to go home. Does that kind of thing happen?
Yes, when like say the delay due to CONED, the CONED is picking up the minimum crew or something that it goes to the CONED because the delay is due to CONED. So right now, if the activity is there is no activity due to CONED feeder outage, many days Con Edison is paying the expenses to the contractor.
Con Ed
Yep,
pays the
yep.
expenses.
If you can
Okay.
hear me, that's correct. He's right.
Yeah, we hear you, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Okay, so Dushan, again, we're going to vestry, right?
Yes, reconstruction of Vz Street. So here also we had a Con Edison feeder, 2 feeders in the concrete base, and all the issues were taken care of on January 28th. But that was already the winter, and the last work we did for the cobblestone was in December, and currently is like a winter shutdown, and we are waiting for a contractor to resume the activity sometime in March 2nd or 3rd week. And all the issues related to CONED is being taken care of now. So I don't see any interferences issue anymore. The remaining work is at the Hudson Street intersection. On the east side of the Hudson Street is like around 30 feet the length of the roadway by 40 feet the width. That's the area we need to the cobblestone and the concrete base. And on east side of the Hudson Street, around 90 linear feet of the half the roadway work that is remaining for cobblestone. And also at the end of the West Street, where there is a Varick Street, that will be closed, where we have like 40 linear feet of the street for the cobblestone. So once the contractor will start resume the activities when the weather improves, and contractor can do the cobblestone work. So it looks like at this time, the project would be over by end of the May 2022.
Because our understanding is that cobblestones can't be laid when it's too
Yes,
cold or
correct.
too wet or
Yes,
right.
correct. Yeah, the weather is not favorable now. So sometime in
Right.
March, and we anticipate to be complete by end of the May.
Okay. Well, again, you'll be back, so you'll let us know what's going on. You know.
Yes.
And I mean, you know how we are concerned because at the end of this whole discussion, we're going to talk about cobblestones on Harrison Street. But you all, everybody's aware of CB1's concerned over cobblestones. So yeah, you'll let us know what's going on.
Yes, yes, 18 months warranty period, and we will have a walkthrough just
Sounds good.
before the warranty expires.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Because remember, though, that the problem that we're having on Harrison and other streets, the warranty
yes.
that expired already, and that's when the cobblestone started to lift. But anyway, that's a whole other discussion. Okay, Dushan. So any other project that you're handling?
No, I don't have any other projects to report at this time.
Great. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So who's next?
I'll go, Pat.
Frankie.
Is that Frankie?
Yep. Hi, Pat. Hi, everybody.
How are you?
Good. This is Frankie Lau from DDC. I'm also engineer in charge. I'm working on the reconstruction of Front Street and the reconstruction of Greenwich Street project.
Right.
I actually have my Greenwich Street staff here, my guys here. So you know what, let me turn it over to them, and they could give you guys an update. And I'll report.
Yeah, Greenwich Street. I wanted to know from where to where. What intersection?
Greenwich, from Barclay to Chambers.
Right.
So Peter and Phil, go ahead.
Hi, Peter and Phil.
Hi, everyone. How you doing?
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Peter, lead off.
Yeah, Phil, why don't you go for it?
Sure. Yeah. So since the last time we were here, there was work was just beginning. So, like Frankie said, Greenwich from Barclay to Chambers. The most of the work now is all between Barclay and Murray. So currently, the contractor is working on the northeast corner of Greenwich and Barclay Street, and they're working to install a catch basin, some utilities in the way, so they're getting everything out of the way, and then they'll put that catch basin in. That's the work we have right now. Traffic-wise, any changes to hopefully tomorrow or Friday, we'll have the rest of our main MPT kind of storage work area set up. So that's going to be from Barclay to Murray on the east side of the street. So Greenwich Street itself will be down to one traffic lane on the west side, and it'll be like that for quite some time. And that's really that's all we have going right now. We're just kind of getting rolling.
Philip, could you, if you can, be a little more specific about what quite some time means?
Peter, what would you?
Yeah, sure. So like Phil said, we're going to call it the first phase of our project is going to go from Barclay up to Murray, and we're looking at May 2024 is our we're calling the baseline schedule. So it's 2+ years to get those couple of blocks fully completed, back paved, and handed over. Of course, this is our first schedule, and as we move along, if we encounter any major problems, the typical kind of DDC project problems, we'll immediately update our schedule and start informing everyone on how it's going to affect that end date. But we're looking, May of 24 as a starting point.
May of 24, but you will give us back whatever you can as soon as you can, right? So in other words, we won't have one lane of Greenwich Street for 2 years.
The one lane is going to flip from where it is now on the west side to the east side for that 2 years. Yeah, it's that's our.
I'm sorry.
That our plan is to occupy and work the rest of the block while we keep the one lane of traffic open. Yeah.
But when you
Pat, just to give you a little backstory to this, we're moving, we're bumping out that sidewalk in front of Bank in New York so that water main and sewer, we have work that's currently now it's underneath that sidewalk. We're actually moving it out into the street, so that's why, our footprint is a little bit more bigger than your your regular roadway reconstruction job because of that and the amount of utilities we found on the location. Right, we've encountered, Peter, tons of ECS, hundreds of ducts that's in the way of stuff that we need to do. So we reached out to City DOT and they granted us that one lane to try to help maneuver and get going on this job.
Right. But what I'm saying is, as soon as, like, when you finish one block and you flipped, from side to side, can you reopen that block? Am I making sense?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So our contract and part of our work has a lot to do with the BNY, the Bank of New York work, right? They're coming in and they're doing the bollards. So we have to meet them and we have to turn over everything, and we're trying to coordinate so they could get in as well. Once we're done with our utility work, and then we'll come in and do the road work. And then when we do the sidewalk, they'll come in and do the bollar work. So there's a lot of moving pieces.
Right.
And of course, once we have a lot of it completed, we'll give back whatever we can in the meantime. But we expect a majority, and Peter, jump in anytime. Majority of our work on this job is going to be that first 2 blocks, right? It's extensive utility interferences there already, and we expect more. So a bulk of our work is going to be on those first 2 blocks. So I think and fingers crossed, if we don't hit any utilities, we would go fast. But I think these first 2 blocks are
Murphy.
I know. I think these first 2 blocks we're gonna be here for a while. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's just the truth.
No, and I always just ask you. Yeah, I know there's gonna be a problem, and we all know there'll be a problem, and you've always been upfront with us. So yes, we appreciate whatever you can do to give us back, the road whenever you can.
And Peter and Phil, and they'll update you guys, and Lucian at the district service cabinet meetings, and then at these meetings moving forward. If things change, we'll update that, and we could try to provide what we can when the time comes. It's just that we have a lot of work on that block.
And we have weather, and we have we know. So, okay, great. Thank you guys. So Philip and Peter, anything else you want to tell us?
Well, so far so good. We're really getting into the nitty gritty of the major work, and Phil can attest. So far, we haven't had too much negative feedback from the community. We're really tight with the bank, they're the whole west side of the block, all the way from Murray to Barclay, and we talk to them. Phil's on the phone with them weekly, and we're waiting for some issues to present to you guys. So we have nothing yet.
Let's keep our fingers crossed, okay?
Pat, it's basically the school and
college.
The college that's there. That's where a lot of foot traffic is.
Peterman Hall.
And people know that the area where Target is, and it's also the area where people, because I've walked that area a lot to go to Whole Foods. So the between Warren and Barclay and Greenwich, that's a very high trafficked area. Plus, in terms of the cross street, the major, Barclay is that major cross street from the east to the west.
And City Bike.
And the
City Bike
is where?
It's right there by Target.
Right around the corner.
Yeah. On Warren Street, yeah. But the way the traffic coming off the West Side Highway, you have to make that right, and you have to go right, left. It's a lot of interaction and different mobility things happening in that particular construction area. So
Philip, and we will let you guys know, Peter, we will let you know if the residents that live there start complaining. We will let you know and let you have time to speak to them. But who's the liaison? Is it Liz also?
No, I'm the liaison for
Philip.
Philip,
You are. Okay, so you're reaching out to all the buildings. You're letting everybody know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And right now, yeah, lots of foot traffic. We have a good contractor. You know, they're keeping the site really tight. Have great flaggers every day. So right now, like Peter said, it's just a lot of coordination between BMCC, mainly the bank, and 7 World Trade Center is there. But please, if you hear any complaints, give me a call or send me an email.
Let's hope not, but we will if we have to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Pat, I just want to add that Philip and I spoke about the importance of doing everything they could to coordinate the rebuilding of the curb with 240 Greenwich reconstruction of their curb, so that it doesn't have to happen twice.
Twice.
So, but and he assured me that they're going to do everything in their power to do so. But really, the X factor is 240 Greenwich itself, and
Okay.
when they're going to be ready. They're not as far along in the process as DDC is, and procurement. So we'll see if they catch up enough in time.
Okay.
Sorry, you heard my son talking.
But yeah, let's hope so. And if there's any way to continue to interface with them and encourage them to get it done, so you guys can coordinate and you know, get it done together. Great, thank you. Anything else you want to tell us? If not, we'll just wait to see you month after next. Okay, thank you. Next project.
So Pat, I want to talk about the reconstruction of Front Street. So that's the job on Front Street between Old Slip to John. I know Lucian had some questions at the last meeting. So right now we're still status quo. Our schedule slipped a year. You know, instead of finishing June of 22, we're putting in a time extension, and we're gonna be out to June of 23. Unfortunately, we've encountered, you know, tons and tons of utilities. You know, we started.
Yep.
They actually have the second crew. They mobilized the second crew to pick
cool.
up production, and
Okay.
we have a crew down on John Street doing some Con Edison work, and then we started a second crew doing the trolley track work. And the amount of utilities we found on that first block is I literally found ECS conduits like 2 inches from the existing road, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So it's a lot of stuff that got to get
surface.
lowered. Excuse me?
You mean 2 inches from the surface?
From the surface, yeah. We
Wow.
pretty much we scraped the top with the bucket and we ripped out conduit. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
And our contract calls for us putting in, curb, and we're putting in 7-inch curb reveal and 11 inches of concrete road base, so and the way that was designed was because after Sandy, a lot of the generator trucks were parked on along that corridor to feed the building. So they wanted, when they designed this project, they wanted to give that road a little thicker of a concrete road base. So that's why we needed to go deeper and to get the extra depth to put the new thicker road base, and that's when we're encountering so much of the stuff.
So is that like some of the resiliency planning for?
So that's what this project was. This was done, with federal and FEMA money to, because of Sandy. That's why it's the project designation is starts with SAND. So we're trying to do a lot more work in case, God forbid there's another incident like that. The infrastructure underground is protected, right? With the heavy traffic, with the heavy equipment that's going to be on that block. Right. So that's why this project was mobilized. So again, and we encountered the damaged sewer, 2 sections of damaged sewer that we still need to replace. So there's a lot of moving things going along on that job too. But luckily, again, we have the contract is good, and we have a second crew to try to start doing a lot more city work. Sidewalk work, new catch basins, new curbs.
Frankie, the second crew, does that mean that they're working overnight?
No, they're just working 2 crews concurrently.
So, okay.
Yeah, so instead of 1 crew on the whole job, I have 2 crews working, one on one end and one on the other end.
Okay, great. So that's why we haven't had any.
No, we're not doing any.
We haven't had any complaints.
No, don't worry. The only thing we have possibly overnight is if we do shutdowns, but I don't foresee that for a while. If we even need any,
let us know.
And I will let you guys know.
Okay, cool. That's good. Good. All right. So Front Street, we're out to 2023.
2023, June of 23.
And
But of course, you'll keep updating us, so you might have great news. You might be able to end sooner if you have two crews.
I hope so.
Right, right. You'll see. All right. Anything else you want to tell us about that?
Any questions, Lucian?
yeah, just wanted to see, I know I haven't heard a peep from any of the building owners. I'm sure it's because they would, building owners, property managers would likely go through the Downtown Alliance, given that's squarely in their zone. But an extra year, I mean, this is really the best time possible to be doing all these reconstruction projects, given, the lighter activity downtown during this pandemic. So I guess there's a silver lining there. But just in terms of an extra year of this activity, have you broken that news to your partners over there, and what kind of feedback have you been getting? Because we know we want to make sure that they can accommodate that and not mess up their desirability for people coming back to the office. You know what I mean?
Amelia is our community liaison. I haven't heard anything from her in terms of anything bad and anything negative. So I think she is on.
This is
Is she
Marlene.
on? Is she the 516 number? Amelia, is that you on the star 3 raises your hand if you're on the phone, because we do have a call in at 516.
Hi, Lucian. This is Marlene from
Yes.
Opon as well. I am in touch with Amelia regularly. I haven't heard any complaints as far as notification regarding the timeline for the project from her. If we do hear of anything, then we'll certainly let you guys know and work with them as far as notification. But as of now, no, we haven't heard anything.
That's kind of what I'm. Oh, here we go. Amelia, is that?
Can you hear
are you
me?
unmuted? Yes, we can hear you.
Finally. Okay, so I'm sorry. I heard what you were saying earlier. I have been going back and forth with all the property managers there within the project. So most people with the advisories, the newsletters, they are aware of the additional year. Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, and what sorts of concerns were brought up for that extension, if any?
I haven't had any. I think most people understand because we told them there were a lot of utility interferences. So, from all the way from Oslip all the way to John. So I haven't had any negative feedback. Downtown Alliance also is aware of the additional year with my, the newsletters and so forth. So I haven't personally had anyone say anything negative other than they understand, pretty much they're okay with it.
That's great news, Amelia and Marlene. Thank you so much. This project has been kind of incredible in the fact that there hasn't really been any complaints that I've fielded for it. But again, the nature of it's quite different, in that most of those would probably funnel through the alliance. So I'm a little disconnected in that way, just for a natural kind of different target for the types of people who are there versus the more residential sections of our district. So thank you both for that input.
I did speak to Natalie about 2 weeks ago, on and off. I'll call just to see if she has anything for me, any updates. And she hasn't said anything either, whether, anyone's called her. I also did want to say to Pat, that second crew, they just started in January.
Okay. So a couple of weeks.
Hello?
Can you hear me? They started a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, they just started in January, the second crew. So it's not like the first crew's been there since 2020. It's the second crew just started now in January.
Okay, great.
The trolley practice. Yeah, they're recent.
Okay, so hopefully it will speed up the work a little.
That is our goal.
Yes, that is our plan, to give everything back to you guys ASAP.
Fingers crossed.
And again, the back and forth on the streets and all that has been working, because we're also in constant contact with Hunter Roberts. They're doing that work inside that building, 111 Wall. So they have their cruise machines and all the stuff, and we are, everyone's moving smoothly. We haven't had any major issues.
Good, good. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, any other projects?
Pat, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Who's talking?
This is Scott Payne from the Water Street Project. How are you?
I was just getting ready to ask about Water Street. Hi, how are you?
I guess my ears were burning.
Yes, they were. How are you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. I'm doing good. The project is moving again. Where I guess it's always going to be a utility something before we get to the majority of the city work. So Con Edison is working at Whitehall Plaza, um, mainly with the electric installation right now, and that's on Water between Whitehall and Moore. And then on Whitehall Street between Water and Pearl, they're also working on electric work. And the third location that we're at now is the intersection of Water and Broad, and we're hand excavating for the Con Edison gas main installation at that location. So pretty much it's all utility work now. We would like to do a little piece of water main work on Moore between Water and Pearl, but as you know, with the weather, we don't want to shut off anybody's water until it gets a little warmer.
Yeah,
So
please don't.
depending, based on the groundhog, we may be able to get to that sooner than later, maybe in March.
Okay.
Yeah.
But one can but hope.
Yes. But everything else is good. No complaints. I'm constantly in touch with the buildings over there, so everybody's still looking forward to the plaza. But I think once we start getting into the actual, plaza work, of course, then the coordination will be a little bit more intense, especially for the cafes and everybody out there. But I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
So, I mean, we'll hear from you, month after next, and you'll let us know if anything has changed.
Yes.
I think, Dushyant, did you have your hand up for a reason?
Yes. After Scott finishes, still one more DDC project has to be reported. Madeline Scobrick will report regarding the combined sewer connecting in West Broadway.
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
This is Madeline. You can call me Maddie.
Maddie.
I'm an engineer in charge for DDC at the Manhattan office as well. So the West Broadway project will be starting. Our notice to proceed date is May 2nd right now. So this project is on West Broadway between Thomas Street and Leonard Street. So it's just a 2-block section, basically at the very end of where the Worth Street project is. We're just doing combined sewer replacement work. One of the delays right now is that there is some scaffolding up on the 60 Hudson Street building, the Western Union building over there.
There's always something going on there.
Yeah, so they just put this up, I think it was back in September of 2021, and they had some delays with their work, and they had a stop work order for a little bit. I guess that was just lifted last week. So we're in contact with the building to figure out when their work is going to be done, because it's all local law 11 violations. So they're expediting to get the work done on the east side of the building there. So that would be on in the west sidewalk area of West Broadway between Thomas and Worth, because we have some combined sewer work in the sidewalk there. So we revised the notice to proceed till May 2nd so that the contractor could have a little more time to wait for that to be removed. And so when we start, so we'll give them that notice to proceed. They can start as soon as May 2nd or maybe like a month later. And then they're going to start the work basically in the, I think the section between Worth and Leonard was their plan on the east side of the street and the sidewalk there. So that's what's going on there.
I'm sorry, so you think May 2nd they'll start the work?
I think they might, we're going to give them the notice to proceed. They have about a month after that, so they're going to start mobilizing around then.
Okay. Well, you'll let us know month after next what's happened.
Yep.
Great. Thanks, Maddie.
No problem.
Anybody
Maddie,
else?
I have a question about 60 Hudson.
60 Hudson.
We have a very good relationship with them. We've had to work with them quite a bit through the years on quality of life issues. I'm sure that you all have a relationship, but if there's ever a need for us to help, anything that's kind of slowed down needs to be expedited in terms of their review, we're happy to reach out because we have a very good working relationship.
They're
with them.
used to us. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, great. They've been very helpful so far. They're trying to finish this as quickly as they can as well. I'll let you know though if we have issues with them.
Sure. We're here to help.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, any other project?
Pat, do you want to talk about the stuff that's coming down the pipeline?
Sure. If there's anything, I mean, if it's something that's going to start before you see us again in month after next.
Nothing that fast, but we're talking this year, 2022. I think we have at least 2 that's going to be starting in CB1.
In 2022?
Yeah, before the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the reconstruction of Vz Street. This is Vz Street between Ann and Church. That one block. That's supposed to start. I think construction around July, August.
I mean, what are we reconstructing?
Vz Street, Vz between Church and Broadway.
Yeah, but what is it that we're reconstructing?
It's a roadway reconstruction. Curb,
Okay.
sidewalk, concrete bit, utilities, the same stuff that we've been doing downtown a lot.
Mhm.
So that's coming down the pipe. That's gonna be the first one up. And then we actually
Do you
just
have
had
any
another one.
estimate on how long you think it might take to complete?
I don't know the specifics. We could bring back details at the next
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah,
That should
you
be
haven't
at least
started.
2 years. Dushyant, do you know how long that job is?
No, I'm not sure about that job. I think we have to check with Nitish Taylor.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out, and
In
we
the
can
next
report
meeting.
back at the next meeting.
Yeah,
Next meeting.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then
and the second
the
project?
next one that's gonna come up after that is Nassau Street. That one just went out to bid. So we're expecting that should be maybe 3rd quarter, early 4th quarter of this year. September, October-ish, maybe November.
You mean to start?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it went out to bid last week. So that should be moving along. So that one is going to be Nassau Street from Pine all the way to Maiden. And I know, Lucian, we had talked about this job, maybe for 2 years. Right? You had concerns about stakeholders and access. So as we get closer, we can always double back and we can set something up and go over any issues that.
Yeah, because we are going to have stakeholders. Rosa, are you here? Rosa, you still on?
Yes, I am. And I was wondering, thank you, Pat, for remembering. I was wondering how long Nassau Street is anticipated to take.
I don't have specifics. I would say at least 2 years. I don't have the contract details in front of me.
Okay. Well,
and what exactly is the entirety of the street being shut down, or what's
No.
the parameters?
I did the walkthrough at design, and the plan was to always maintain at least a lane on Nassau. The biggest problem was maintaining the truck traffic turns from Pine. So there was discussions with City DOT about maybe limiting the truck traffic through there, but that's something that we could have. It depends on the stipulations that they wrote, but if I recall correctly, it was always to maintain at least a lane of traffic through Nassau during construction. And I know it's tight, it's a narrow block, but that was what was proposed, and I'm pretty sure that was what was what.
Well, Rosa lives there, so she will have questions for you when you get closer to starting.
No problem. That's one of mine. That's going to be one of mine. So I'll be around.
And Rosa, you can help us make sure that we reach all the stakeholders.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let's definitely loop back around. Thank you for remembering that. We always try to really brainstorm through different pockets of stakeholders that need to be reached for these projects, and then I'm just happy to say that DDC has really done a great job responding to all of our our requests on that. And yeah.
Yep. Over these last years, it's been fantastic. Thank you, everyone, new and old. Thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
any other?
Thank
you.
No.
Any other projects? Don't
Dushan,
go
do you have
anywhere
anything?
because we want to talk about Harrison Street. So, unless there are any other projects that you want to fill us in on?
No, no. Those are the only two that's coming. Within the year. Within this 2022. So anything other than that will be outside of 22.
Okay, and you'll be back month after next if
Yeah,
all goes
yeah. As
well.
we get more info, we could update everybody in terms of contract duration and stuff like that. Get
Right.
more construction starts and stuff. So we could fill you guys in.
Sounds good. You always do, and again, we always appreciate it.
No problem.
Is Diane Lapson available to?
Diane's here, and that's probably the best segue, Pat, because hopefully, with any luck, we'll have DDC telling us about a cobblestone roadway reconstruction project sometime in the future. So, Diane, I've moved you over to the panelists. You can unmute yourself. You can turn on your camera at will. And then all of our friends from DDC or CCL and also EDC projects. Thank you so much again, and also our colleagues at Con Edison. Appreciate you, John.
To say
and,
John, yep,
Joshua.
and Josh is
Crespo
here,
as well.
yeah. So who do
No
we
problem.
need to address this to
Thank you.
from DDC?
Sorry?
Who do we need to address this Harrison Street problem to from DDC?
I mean, I think right now it's a matter of getting capital funding. So I think DOT is probably going to be our target, just in terms of them. I mean, the capital budget wise. I mean, Marlene, you're here. What usually has to happen for you all to receive notice that you've got a capital project in the pipeline? Is that something that DOT identifies, and then the city puts money towards the capital project?
Lucian, can we go back? What are we talking about? You guys want to redo Harrison Street? Is that what the question is?
The next agenda item is about Harrison Street, which the cobblestones, and Diane Lapson will present.
But I'm just saying. So who do we need to ask to stay? Because if they don't need to stay, then we love. If you want to stay, great.
I mean, I think right now we're just kind of exploring the issue. I don't think that I can bring it back, but if Marlene has any insights about kind of what it looks like on her end when capital projects come down the chute, that actually can be quite illuminating.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're moving on to the Harrison Street project and the cobblestone issue. Anyone from DDC and Con Ed who wants to stay, you're welcome to stay. If you would like to leave and go and enjoy the rest of your evening, we want to say again, thank you so very much for filling us in and being patient and coming every other month. And so if you leave and go have your evening, then we will see you month after next. All right?
All right, take care now. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Hi, Lucian. I can stay and take any questions, and I can relay those to our teams at DDC and get back to you.
Fantastic. Okay, thanks, Meryl. All right, so
wonderful, Marlene. Thank you.
Everybody, Diane Lapson is here. Diane Lapson has lived in our community for a very long time. And she was on the community board for a very long time. And she was part of the Quality of Life Committee. And we were sad when she left, but she's back for the evening with an issue that's going on. So everybody welcome Diane back. Hi, Diane.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. She's go ahead.
Can you see me?
We can see you also. Lower your camera a little bit so we can see you more.
Lower my camera.
Not yet, there. A little bit more.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so go ahead and tell everybody what the issue is.
Oh, look, there's a picture. Okay, well, we're going back. I also have Lonnie Levy here, who I'd like her to speak as well. She lives on my street. Okay, so we're going back to 2009 when the cobblestones were replaced. I'm a little shaky on the history of whether they were put in after they ripped all the streets in the community apart to put in the new water pipes, etc. I'm not sure, but I know that they wanted to replace the cobblestones that were at least 100 years old at that point and were still functioning, but the disarray that they were in was really because whenever the street was dug up for construction, the cobblestones at one point were not put back the right way, but all the other stones were functioning. After 2009, when the brand new cobblestones were put in, and as the community board knows, the city spent a fortune on not just Harrison Street, but Varick Street and many parts of Tribeca, Northmore, Franklin, and then even in the West Village and parts of Soho, different streets were replaced. The streets started loose, the stones started getting loose. Somebody from another committee on the community board said he believed that they were not put at the right distance from each other, because why would they stay in place for over 100 years and suddenly after maybe a year or two they were popping up, they were coming out of their place? At the time, I started talking about it at the community board and in different meetings, and I was concerned because it was becoming very dangerous to walk on these. You can see that what's going on. This is like not even the worst of it in this picture. My neighbor Bonnie was who was jogging. She just was walking up Harrison Street and to cross the street to come to the building. She fell down and she thought she had a concussion. She came to my apartment and we convinced her to go to the hospital. She had fractures and she was all bruised up. Anyway, this continued and the street started getting worse. And Varick Street, right after Canal Street, is horrific, very dangerous, but mostly there's cars there. Harrison Street, there is traffic, and you know, somebody from the mayor's office at one point said, well, you know, people shouldn't be crossing in the middle of the street. What he failed to realize is that people riding bicycles are coming on these cobblestones, and this is one of the reasons why they're using the sidewalks, because they cannot ride their bikes on these roads. People on motorcycles are having problems with riding the roads. And so there's other issues besides people walking, with carriages, with shopping wagons, seniors with walkers. I'm going to let Lonnie tell the story of what happens most recently. This has been going on. Okay, so let's say 2010, it was put in 2009. 2010, I know there was problems already. 2016, the Tribeca committee, I finally was practically frothing at the mouth, saying that I was so worried that somebody was going to get hurt. And I didn't understand how this could all be being ignored. And at that point, it was in it very close to when before 2016, it was very close to when they were put in. And I wanted the city to contact the people who put them in and let them redo the job instead of the city having to put more millions of dollars into this. But that didn't happen. I don't know. They said later they ran out of their time period. I just don't understand how you don't hold a company accountable for the job they've done. And finally, in 2016, we had a resolution to the Department of Transportation, and DDC was copied saying, we're urging that all these streets in Tribeca are looked at and that they are, and all of these issues of danger are corrected. Okay, that was 2016. Nothing happened. 2018, when a new commissioner was coming in, I was at the meeting where he was introducing himself at the Quality of Life Committee. And I explained to him again what was happening, especially on Harrison Street, how people were afraid to cross the street, etc. And he said he was, he didn't say what he was going to do, but he heard what we had to say. And he said he would look into it. And he asked somebody else on the committee if they would maybe give him a list of the streets that we knew about. There was a list in the original resolution, but we didn't have that at the meeting. And then something happens, which I would like Lonnie to explain. But before I pass this over to Lonnie, I would just like to say that it is now 2022. So 13 years since this was installed have passed by. We have not had anything fixed on any of these streets. And I'm really concerned with Harrison, but the other streets in Tribeca that are really in bad shape. We have a lot of bicycles on the sidewalk, which is dangerous for the people who are walking. We have a very high percentage of seniors in our community. I just don't know. I don't understand why this is being neglected. I don't understand why, after people have gotten hurt, why this is not being corrected. And I just found out the other day that last year, another woman in our building fell down, broke her wrist, and was in a cast for 7 weeks because of the cobblestones. So I would like to turn this over to Lonnie, because Lonnie has a story to tell you.
Well, I mean, yeah, I hope Lonnie's going to tell the story that now it escalated from people just being hurt,
right,
to
she's
resident,
going to tell
to
that
the
story.
death of a resident. Okay. Mm-hmm. Hi, Lonnie.
Is Lonnie?
Yeah, Lonnie should be able to unmute.
Let me text
I
her.
moved Lonnie over to panelist.
Lonnie, unmute yourself.
Let me see.
I mean, if she can't speak, I will tell her story, but let me see.
I'll send a request.
Hello, can you hear
Here
me?
she is.
Yeah, now we hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Lonnie.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Lonnie Levy, and I have been a resident of 40 Harrison Street for 45 years.
Lonnie,
yes.
Lonnie,
two
you're
devices
signed
on.
in twice. You're signed in twice, so you have a feedback loop. So one of your sign-ins has to go, or cut off the speakers on one of them.
How's this? Better?
No.
No.
Okay. Let's see. No. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
It's either two devices. Let's see. Try now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better.
Can you hear me? Okay. Let's try it again. Okay. Good evening. My name is Lonnie Levy, and I have been a resident of 40 Harrison Street for 45 years. As a former community board member, both on the Tribeca Committee and the Quality of Life Committee, let me thank you all for everything you do for our community. For the past 27 years, I was blessed with a wonderful life partner by the name of John. On October 22nd, 2018, John was crossing Harrison Street, and because of the conditions of the cobblestones, he fell. He could not get up. He just laid in the middle of Harrison Street while people were directing traffic around him. Finally, an ambulance came. I'll spare you all the sad details and just say that this was a tragic accident, and John died 3 months later. John was 70 years young. My reason for being at this meeting tonight is to try and avoid this kind of suffering from happening to someone else. Harrison Street, amongst other streets in Tribeca, are still extremely dangerous to walk on. Our streets should be safe. I'll never get over losing John to an accident that was so preventable. I have just gotten used to it. And I thank you for your time.
Lonnie, thank you again. Condolences. But many people on the committee did not know about this accident and John's death. So I'm glad that you came to let people know. Marilyn, you're here, and I don't know how we proceed. I don't know how we get the city to get some action.
I just want to say also, I want to add another part of the story is that at one point, if you remember when that terrible thing happened on Halloween, where a driver on West Street, drove into a bunch of tourists.
Yes.
Killed people. That day, Lonnie was coming back from work or wherever she was. She saw Mayor de Blasio and people from he was giving a memorial speech for that incident that happened the year before. And she saw them all crossing the street coming towards Harrison, and she kind of infiltrated and told de Blasio, I'm so happy to see you, yada, yada. And then she said, there's something I want to show you. This was when John was still alive. So he sent, I think he came too, didn't he?
Yes.
He came over with his assistant and looked at the cobblestones and said it was terrible, and said he was sorry that Lonnie's husband was in the hospital. And then we were in touch with this guy, Dustin, from his office. And Dustin did a walkthrough with the community board with Cora Fung from Margaret Chin's office and Lucian. I'm not sure who else was in the walkthrough. I wasn't aware of the walkthrough at the time. And he then said that their determination was that there were sinkholes on Harrison Street. Now, if that's true, and that's what's causing all of the disarray and danger, we're in a lot of troubles because there are at least 10 streets right now with exactly the same cobblestone problems. If these are all sinkholes, then the streets are in a lot of trouble. If they're not sinkholes, or if they are sinkholes, I believe they can still be repaired. But even with us discussing this with the mayor's office, nothing was changed. And that's basically where we're at. I don't even know how to get attention anymore. I mean, once John passed away, sometimes you don't get a traffic light until somebody dies. We've had somebody die and other people fracture their ribs and break their wrist. And those are only the people we know about. I don't know who else lives in the community who might have gotten hurt, because they're not going to tell me. I'm the president of the tenant association here, but I don't hear about everything. So anyway, to sum it up, it's kind of unbelievable that this is just continuing for like at least 10 years.
Yeah.
At least. And how do we change that?
So I don't know. And so I'm opening it up to Marilyn's I see she's gonna say something. Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you all for bringing these concerns to our attention. I'm very sorry, Lonnie, for your loss. I know we have spoken about the previous Harrison Street project, I believe it was called. That was before my time at DDC. However, we did at that time, when this came up at a previous quality of life meeting, went back to our construction management team to follow up on what could be done in that case. Now, what I was told is that once a project is completed, substantially completed, there is that 18-month warranty period, at which time DDC, along with other members of the community who wish to attend, can visit the site and do the walkthrough, make sure everything is fine. If there's anything that's deficient at that time, the contractor would be required to fix it. Now, beyond that 18-month period, any issues that come up on the street would have to be reported to City DOT, which would have to go out and inspect the street. So that is what I was told is the process. So in this case, I certainly would recommend the residents to follow up with City DOT and bring those concerns and all these incidents that have happened to their attention, to raise awareness as to what's happening on the streets and get funding for a future project that could repair the conditions of these cobblestones.
Well, we did report that originally the resolution was 2016, where we did report directly to, was it Luis Sanchez?
Luis Sanchez, yes.
Yeah, he was the commissioner at the time. We did bring it to their attention. The truth is that I don't know if it was 18 months. It feels like it was really shortly after the job was done that it started going. And on every single street that the cobblestones are on, not just Harrison. But are you saying then that we should start all over again, repeating what we've already done and adding?
If there is a resolution, if it's something in writing that you can forward to me, Lucian or Pat, I would certainly get in communication with CDDOT, myself, Colleen at the Department of Transportation, and bring this to her attention and see what can happen from now on forward.
And we also have a tape. We have a tape from 2018 where I explained all this to the new commissioner, Commissioner Pinkar. And I said, I told him what was going on and how long it's been going on. And it's all on tape that Lucian actually provided a copy recently, an MP3 file. So we have those two things showing what we've done in the past. And I also have correspondence. Well, I think the community board has correspondence too with with Dustin. I don't know his last name. I forgot, from the mayor's office.
That administration is now gone.
We could put all of that together in a package and get that to you. But if you want us to.
So Pat, if I could chime in, so what Marlene was saying is correct. So what usually happens is, DDC, it's pretty much we're the construction portion for city projects, right? Anything that has any project has to have a client agency, be it DEP or DOT. So the money comes from them. So I think what Marlene was saying is, and it's true. You should bring these things up to City DOT. They would have to look at this in order for anything to be done. They would have to come and put like some kind of funding for us to do it, right? We don't generate. Unfortunately, we're just like the middle person. We're pretty much like the contractors.
Right.
So unless there's an agency funded project, we can't do anything. So that's why your best bet is to reach out to City DOT. Get the ball rolling on that show and maybe have them come out again and relook at this. And this way they can maybe start a dialogue of looking at it, maybe some kind of restoration or some kind of a repair or, redoing it. I don't know what that would be. It all depends on the funding from them.
Okay.
That would be the best course of action, I would say, because again, DDC doesn't have a budget that we go out and we do these projects. These are all agency funded projects.
Right. Okay, so the first step is that yes, we're going to get the package together, and Marlene will send that to you.
Thank you.
Please, you can
Okay.
send it to me.
Lucian, you're there? Did we lose Lucian?
I'm here.
Okay. So we'll do that, and then the second step is to we were talking about writing another reso. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think my recommendation is we will take the next month to pull together a new resolution draft outlining the dates of our previous resolutions and reaffirm support for the rebuilding of all of our cobblestone streets that are now no longer up to grade.
and asking that the city find a pot of money.
That's right. A capital project to rebuild them so that
Right.
these cobbles, and previous conversations, you know, we were in our previous conversations with DDC, you know, we learned that the specs for these types of streets has improved. The mix for the mortar is different, and that's great. But we need them to be rebuilt to benefit from improved specs and improved mortar and improved spacing and the improved post-construction inspections. So we just need
I
to
also
get
think,
that money on board to do that.
yeah, I also think in this new reso, we should actually ask that whatever company is doing the work, that the warranty be longer. What was it? A year? Was it a year?
18
Yes,
months.
18 months. 18
Yeah, it
months.
should be longer than that because it took longer. Well, according to Diane, it started almost immediately, but by the time anyone looked at it, the warranty had expired. So that's another thing that I think we should ask for, is that the warranty be longer than 18 months. But okay, so we're gonna work on this. Everybody's gonna do some work and try to get this together. And then next month, from now until next month, we'll be writing the new reso, Lonnie and Diane.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'd love to, you know, if I can help in any way. I have a lot of stuff here that maybe I can provide. I think the other thing is that, you know, sitting in this meeting and hearing about all these streets downtown that are all being worked on, and this is 13 years after it was put in, and nothing was ever done here, is kind of stunning to me. That these streets can be ignored. I mean, even if it was not just my community, even if it was just Varick Street, everybody drives on Varick Street. They have to know how terrible and dangerous it is to ride down that street. So it's just kind of, I would love to appeal to them as to, with all the construction that's going on downtown in this community and, you know, Lower Manhattan, why these are all have not been included at all this time, and how we could change that. But anyway,
Okay.
thank you
Well,
so much.
We're gonna reach out to you and get you involved in helping us with this reso that we will then.
If I may, I don't know if you can hear me. If I may, it's Miriam. I'm still with Assembly Member Deborah Glick's office.
Yes. Hi,
with
Miriam.
you.
That's why we wanted you
yeah,
here.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for your loss, and Diane Lapton, I remember you. I will pass this message along to the Assembly member. I know that it's a city issue. I'm glad that you have DDC on the phone, and you guys did reach out to DOT a number of years ago. So if you want us to send in an email or pick up the phone, I'm happy to do that tomorrow.
Because it
after I
is
speak with her about it.
It's in Deborah's
district, yes.
District, yes. Thank you. I was trying to come up with the word. Yes. So would you please, yes, explain what's going on, and any help that she can offer, we would appreciate.
Yeah, happy to do it.
Thank you so much for coming tonight and for helping with this issue.
Pat, can I ask a question to you?
Of
Pat, to
course.
Diane?
Of
The
course.
person that said to you, you know, when you mentioned about this tragedy, and their answer was, well, nobody should be crossing in the middle of the street. Is that person still in the city government?
That was somebody from de Blasio's office.
Okay, because
and actually Pat responded in that email and said, if somebody's coming out of their car, they are in the street. You know, if they're coming out of the driver's side of their car, they have to go into the cobblestones.
But even
I don't remember that, but yeah, that makes sense.
Well, we have that in writing from you.
Well,
you responded,
Diane. That to me, that's just an offensive, like really offensive comment. And that person should have no business in any type of.
But they're no longer, that administration's gone.
Yeah, I don't think they are, and that's why I mentioned the bicycles too, because you can't say, you could say people shouldn't be crossing the street in the middle of the block, even though I don't agree with that.
Right, of course.
How about people who are just riding bikes?
It's not even that. Like when you, I mean, I don't own a car, but the few times I've had to borrow a car, and when you're coming down the West Side Highway and you turn on Vz Street and make a right on the bridge, there's been cars where the whole bottom's ends have been damaged because of those. So it impacts everybody from women in high heels to bicycles to senior citizens walking.
Or senior citizens in wheelchairs, or people with disabilities, or
Well,
senior
I would just
citizens
with strollers or walkers or
right.
I said
it's impossible.
Right. I mean, it impacts everyone who has to, interface with that street.
Right. I just didn't list everybody in my examples, but everybody.
And
we want everybody listed.
The truth is that John was in excellent shape. He used to play tennis and everything. It wasn't like he was a bent over senior. He like Lonnie said, he was 70 years young.
But that's not even the point. The point is that's so disgusting with that response.
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, I wasn't laughing at that one. Anyway, I appreciate you all understanding our frustration.
Yeah, Marilyn and Frankie, thank you for staying on. I can't see if anybody else is on from DDC, but thank you for staying on.
Thank you, everyone.
Lonnie, it's good to see you. But again, our condolences.
Thank you.
Diane, you're always pleased. We would love to see you come and come to the meetings. We will start working on this and we'll reach out to you. Lucian, do you have anything else you wanted to add? I also think Diane Stein had her hand up.
Oh, yeah. Yes. My question is, if there are sinkholes, and I'm not knowledgeable about construction or streets, what's if they make how can they address if they make repairs that could happen again if there's a defect in the way the streets are?
I don't know. That will all have to be part of the conversation.
Right. That would be part of the DOT inspection before a project is put out. So they would have to come out and take a look at the condition of the street. If DEP needs to be involved, then it would have to come out as well.
And actually, at one point I heard somebody said there were people looking at the street. If they reach out to any of us, we could really show them some of the worst spots if they are interested in working with the community. We would be more than happy to point out the places where it's extremely dangerous, at least on Harrison, and maybe there are people who can go with them to show them the rest.
The other streets,
between Vestry and the next block going south.
Oh, Vestry's awful, like a war zone. It's like a war zone.
Diane, they'll do something about the sinkhole when about 3 or 4 cars and some people like fall into it, like sometime the picture will be in the paper, and then it'll be worked on the next day.
Well, it's been years. So at any rate, I want to move this conversation because we are going to we're going to work on this. This is not the end. Tonight is not the end. We're starting tonight. We're going to start working on this. And again, Marlene, thank you.
Thank you,
Bonnie, be well.
Thank you.
Diane,
Stay safe.
Stay safe. We will talk. Diane, I'll talk to you soon. Okay, Miss Lapson. Nope, you're muted.
I said thank you.
You're welcome.
Night.
Night. Oh, before you go, Diane, was anybody? I didn't look to see. Did anybody else on the committee have any other questions? I'm not seeing. Let's see. Wait, hands? Any hands?
Yeah, no? I don't know who's really here. Are you ending the meeting now? Or you have a few more things?
No, we've got something else.
All right, so I'll hang on.
Stick around. Stick around. We're going to talk about World Trade Center number 5. So Miss Mariama and Miss Jill, are you there? You guys want to take it away?
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Was that Jill?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. I thought I started.
I hear you, Jill.
Yeah, I'm
Is
trying
Mariama
to start
there?
my video.
There you go. And Miss Mariama, who's the co-chair, are you there? Oh, I don't see her. Okay. Well, Jill, hi.
Hi. I can't see myself.
How are you?
I'm good. How is everybody? Oh, I don't want to be
Good to see you, Jill.
Oh, okay. I can't see you, but as long as you can. So A quick update. The comment period is now over for the GPP plan, and I am so delighted that I'll take credit that the rezos we did were super effective, and Toby from EDC wrote to Diana, and I'll quickly just read this to you. She says, "Hi Diana, I don't have any documents that I can provide at this time, but note that in response to feedback from the community, ESD will pull the mixed-use design guidelines from the MGPP approval and will include them with the real estate transaction, which will be subject to a future public review process, including presentation to the ESD and LNDC Board of Directors, a public hearing, and public comment period." So what that means is that our concerns about the mandatory design regulations they were trying to put in, such as curved glass, that would have made the building too expensive to be 100% affordable, they have taken out of this plan. And I just couldn't be happier. I thank everybody for working on this so hard. It's just a terrific success. What else?
I'm sorry, I was muted. So they pulled out certain design elements that had been discussed as possibly being too expensive, making the building more expensive. Does that mean though that they have eliminated them from the design plan, or they are going to hold for future discussion?
The latter, hold for future discussion. So
that doesn't mean that they're gone.
That is absolutely true. They are not gone. They're going to include them with what they describe as the real estate transaction. Now, Diana also asked, thank you so much, Diana, for a specific timeline, which they don't have. The only timeline that we have from them is still the one from their presentation, which had basically seasons. You know, this next thing will happen in the spring. The next thing will happen in the summer. So we'll keep everyone posted on that. But absolutely, the fight shall continue in the next tranche of approvals. But I did kind of feel like this was a little bit under the radar, putting this in with the plan to make it, you know, the approval to make the building residential, which we all support fully. And so that's out, and the fact that, you know, the hat tip goes to the community is really great. So what else is new? Gerald Nadler, our congressman, came out specifically supporting 100% affordability, not just the most or however much we can get. So he's on record with that, and that's a wonderful positive development. The other thing, which I hope I'll be able to present maybe next week or the week after, is I believe it's the Architectural Review of New York publication did a call for designs, you know, alternative designs for 5 World Trade Center, and including an emphasis on affordability. And so their contest has, I think it's going to end shortly. And as soon as we get pictures of those designs, I think it'll be interesting and fun to see. I think that's it off the top of my head. Yeah.
Let me ask you, is your group also fighting? I had asked when we first went to the CAC, I had asked that residents of this community have some sort of preferential treatment when it came to applying for apartments in the building. And I was told that that was impossible because there was litigation in another area in New York City trying to bar that. And then after that, we were told that that is not necessarily true. I think that's what we were told. That's not necessarily true, that we could go ahead and fight for it anyway. So I just want to make sure that your organization your group is fighting for that.
Well, so that's a good question, and maybe that's something we need to think about in terms of the next reso. So we're fighting for 100% affordability with, preference for 9/11 survivors, all different various groups. So we can have that discussion to be specific about the community. So to answer your question, we really haven't gotten up to that part yet because we're looking at 100% affordability. So the question you ask, I think, even applies to any percentage, right? Be it 25%, be
Yes,
it 100%.
any percentage, right. I still feel, and I know that your group is fighting for 9/11 survivors, which of course people who live in this community fall under
Yes.
that category also. But I think if you have lived in this community, you live in this community, you're losing your affordable housing, that you
Yeah.
should be given preferential treatment to apply for a residency at this new building.
Well, I agree with that. And what I'm trying to think through, and we certainly talk about residents and how, all the affordable housing we've lost and people desperately need it, but it might be worth a reso focusing on the community aspect, and it's something to think through. I'd be curious what other people think about that.
Well, we can bring this topic up every month. So how about people think about this and we have a discussion about it next month when you can give us another update if there's anything that's new you'd like to tell us.
Okay, I think that sounds good.
Everybody on the committee and Diane Lapson, who's back, think about
Yay, Diane.
think about, because I really think that people who live in this community should be given, that's my feeling, and you all can think about it and we can discuss it, should be given preferential treatment when applying, once the building is built, of course, when applying for residency at this building. All right, so thank you, Jill. If there's anything else you want to add?
No, I think
I wanted to add something.
Okay. Oh, Mariama, you're there. Hi.
Yes, I am here. I must have stepped away before. So yeah, hi, Jill, you did a great job as always. I would only add that with regard to the architectural contest that was had, it was in partnership with a group called Citigroup, CITY, not to be confused with, Citibank, Citigroup. Right. And it has concluded, as I understand it, in terms of collecting those submissions, and there were quite a few. We're happy to say we're going to announce the exact number at a meeting of our own shortly within the next week or two, as well as share some of those submissions, some of what people came up with.
Miriam,
submitting was different different buildings that they had come up with that were affordable, under the parameters that we're working with, how you can make a building that we're looking for affordable.
Okay, so I understand that, but let me see what I want to ask. Who, is it just your group that asked these architects to submit plans, or?
No, it was actually architects and Citigroup that approached in the group wanting to do this. They're saying, there's no reason why a building like this can't be affordable. We're going to hold a contest. Would you guys like to partner with us on it? And of course, we agreed. And there were architects from all over the country that participated and further agreed that this can be done. So we're gonna be happy to share some of those submissions, and that's the exact number of people who participated within the next week or two.
Okay, so you're sharing that with who are you sharing it with?
With the public. We're gonna have a meeting of our own, yeah.
And so how are you then going to funnel those designs to the development at 5 World Trade Center?
So it's also in conjunction with the publication and I think it's Architectural Review of New York, and they'll do that. They will do that, and City Group will do that.
Okay, I mean, I'm still not quite sure how, and if it's just a contest and it's just a a question about whether it can be built affordably. I understand it, but if you actually want some of these plants to be used,
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to understand how you're incorporating that with the discussion that's going
Yeah,
on.
the first step is going to be these architects from all over the country stepping forward to say, if you're saying it can't be done, that's untrue, and here's why. And a number of us have come up with different ways as to why that's untrue and how we could actually get it done. So that's the first part, and hopefully it will turn into something greater than that, and maybe even a new RFP or something. I don't know, but that would be great. As far as the preferences, you are correct in that certain groups are still eligible for preferences, and the request for preferences, as we've set it forward, is acceptable. We've talked to the LMDC and to the officials and to all the people about this. There are still buildings that are going up that are having preferences. For example, Essex Crossing in LES recently, that was put up for seniors specifically. So we have that preference as well in what we've requested. It's 9/11 survivors, first responders, their children, so the children of survivors and the children of first responders, and seniors is what we've asked for so far. But yes, in CB3, there is currently a lawsuit for people having requested a preference that they said it's discriminatory in the way that it was requested. So it has to be specific groups. I don't know all the legalities to what groups are appropriate. I just know that we've been told so far that ours are.
Okay, but we haven't specifically asked for the preference of
not for the community at
residents.
large, no. And I think that may be what we're no longer allowed to do.
Okay,
I believe that's correct. The community preference is what's been challenged in court.
Okay, and so I'd like us to follow that because I really don't understand why that's
Yeah,
being
I
challenged.
think I'm not sure that it's been totally thrown out. So I think that it's still a possibility. Nobody seems very sure on that. So maybe part of what we need to do is, which is what I think Pat is saying, is kind of figure out where that stands.
Yeah. And so again, maybe next month you might have an update for us on not just that, or whatever you want to update us on next month. Please, update us. Okay.
And it's certainly a question for ESD and for Toby.
Well, we asked at the CAC that question I brought up at the first meeting, and that's what I said I was told. If you mean Toby Giacini, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that question was asked and answered, but I don't accept the answer.
Okay.
Okay. I see Mitch's hand up. I can't see if anybody. Mitch, go ahead. I don't see who else's hand is up.
Thank you. I have just a question for Jill. I'm not sure if it's appropriate for your group. If I know of a building in this community board that was in one of those affordable housing programs, and the program expires the end of next year, like the right before the start of 2024. So there's no information whether they're going to continue in the program or not. I think it was like a 30-year program, and they might very well, or they might not. As your group, do you need to wait to find out what the real estate building owners are going to do before you might want to take some, try to put some pressurized action? Or is it something that you might want to know beforehand, where you might be able to maybe put some polite political pressure, preemptively?
So when you say my group,
well, you said your group, so I thought you were doing something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's a separate group called 100% Affordable 5 World Trade Center. That's not part of the community board.
I'm sorry.
However, you do raise a good point, because within this committee, we look at affordable housing.
Okay.
And what building is that? It sounds like maybe it's a 421A type of situation.
105.
Where
I'm going to tell you, 105 Duane Street, Tribeca Tower, across the street from where Jean Grillo lives.
And they have, it's probably some type of tax abatement, or
it was 80-20 building from the early 90s.
Yeah, so that's one of the issues we're seeing a lot now. We've seen it in Battery Park City too, where the 80/20s or 421As are expiring. And so people who have lived there for whatever it was, 20, 30 years, many are now seniors and can't afford to live in this community.
Right.
So I don't know what the issue is. I don't, if it expires, it expires. But
right. I'm sorry, Jill, continue.
No, but it would be interesting to hear a little bit more about how many units are affected and what the people there.
20% of the building.
I don't know how large the building is.
It's a lot. The building's like over 50 stories.
Okay.
It's a large building.
So it seems to me that they probably have legal issues too that we can't really address.
Well, the thing is, they seem to be good landlords. So if everybody's treated very well, like the fair market, the subsidized tenants are treated the same as the fair market tenants, but you never know what goes on at the very top of these decisions. And what I've been trying to do, in fact, back, may he rest in peace, when your husband was alive, and one of the things that I used to bring up was trying to get more incentives, have the politicians create more incentives for buildings to re-up for another 30, 50 years or whatever, and like to try to do something or to charge like some type of disincentive for them to get out of the program, where like all the money that they've made on investing in the tax abatements that they've had, somehow something could be done with that. And that's what I've been trying to bring up for over many years. And especially if you're a senior and you've been living in a place for 25, 30 years, where even if they come out of the program, you could be grandfathered in at least while you're alive.
Let me just ask though, is this something we can, I'm trying to move the meeting along.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Is this something that Jill is really equipped to deal with?
I don't know. That's why when she said group, I thought she was doing general.
Yeah,
but
her group is specifically about World Trade Center number 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Mitch, I think it's something that we should take up in the affordable housing portion of
That's fine.
Your life. Right. And so can we, again, I just ask you to send a quick email, just jot down that topic to Lucian and Mariama and myself so that we can put it on the agenda. Okay.
Okay. And can I just ask you one technical question? I've been seeing like a picture of quality of life committee, a blue thing without anybody's photos. Yes. Is that everybody sees the same thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
You can
You're not
play around with
hallucinating.
it. You can play around with it and get the photos. I played around with it, and now I'm looking at pictures of people.
Okay.
I can't tell you how I did it.
Okay. Well, I don't know if there are any pictures pertaining to the discussion we were just having. So yeah, we just have this quality of life. Yeah. All right. So Mitch, I'm leaving it up to you to send a quick one sentence to Mariama, Lucian, and myself, right?
Right.
Okay, so we can put it on the agenda. Jill and Mariama, thanks for that update. I have Jimmy that I want to.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you.
So first of all, let me just say that the whole committee. Oh, I'm sorry. Detta had her hand up. Detta?
I was going to speak to the cobblestones, so that discussion has gone by.
Detta, next time, just open your mic and yell out because I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you still want to make the statement?
My statement, I will make it quickly. Just that all the problems that everybody listed about cobblestones and being difficult for it's difficult for the motorcyclist, for anyone on a motorized device. Like even with a well-done cobblestone street, those problems all are still there. So I think there should also be a discussion about the maintaining cobblestones at all, because those roads are very exclusionary. They really do exclude anyone who's not able-bodied and anyone who's. So that's just a future discussion.
Well, that doesn't fall under our catchment. That then has to go to landmarks. So I would suggest that you send an email to.
Oh, you mean these, it's not just a choice, these streets are cobblestone and they
They're
have to be
landmarked.
cobblestone?
They're
Okay.
landmarked, and so I think you should send, because I think there are people who would agree with you. So you should send a quick little note to Tammy, Lucian, and who's the chair? Lucian, who's the chair of landmarks?
Jason Friedman.
Yeah.
Okay, so that you'd like to have
Okay.
that discussion taken up in the committee. Good
Oh,
idea. And then,
okay.
okay.
Thanks for the
great.
direction.
Sure, sure. But on that note, I also want to say, and then I'm getting to you, Jimmy, in a minute. I want to say that anybody in the committee, you know, if you have any topics that you want to take up in this committee, please bring them to us. We are, happy to take up any topic you want to talk about. Jimmy, before I get to you, two things. Francis, do you have anything that you want to discuss in terms of health issues, senior issues, anything like that?
No, I'm still waiting to hear back from the borough president's office in terms of if they're going to continue what I was participating in with
COVID.
Gail Brewer and the Manhattan Test and Trace. There was, I know everybody's aware that they have these limited amount of locations for giving out testing kits, and right now it's a temporary situation because in all the boroughs there's only like 3 or 4 locations, and they're centrally located until, because it's a preliminary kind of situation, and they're looking at expanding it, and they're looking to see how how it's utilized before they expand on it. But right now I have no information from them. I have been copied on the email from Tammy and Lucian, but I haven't heard from that office yet.
But speaking of which, Francis, and the committee, I replied to, when the president first said that they were going to give 3 test kits out to everyone, I immediately that day, and I haven't gotten any kits yet. Has anybody else received any kits?
I got mine in the mail.
I've not gotten mine. I don't have
I got mine in the mail.
I haven't gotten mine either.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, that's the federal. I don't know that.
Right.
So we got everybody. They're all on different levels, but the federal one I got already. I don't know.
I mean, I applied that first day, and I still haven't.
Right.
All right.
The ones where they were having these central locations in the boroughs for people to just go and walk up and get them.
Right.
They're limited, and I haven't heard anything else about them expanding that process.
Okay. All right. So I want to move on, but Francis, I'd like to talk to you about the possibility of bringing a senior topic to the committee. So you and I can touch base on that.
Okay.
All right. Who else? There was somebody else I wanted to talk to about something before Jimmy. Oh, Mimi, you there? Mimi and I are on a task force with members of CB5, starting the ball rolling to discuss public bathrooms, how we can try to get the city to get public bathrooms. Mimi, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You have anything you want to say to the committee?
About the public bathrooms. Our strategy right now to get more public restrooms available to everybody is to come up with ideas from a lot of different angles that we can propose to the different community boards and see which ones they're interested in. So coming at it from, DOT installing new places, allowing people to use restrooms and in restaurants, creating signage for public restrooms so people can find them, things like that. If anybody has any ideas, you are welcome to, send them to me and Pat. And if you're interested in, sitting in these meetings, you're welcome to.
The other thing is to also try to get the MTA to reopen the bathrooms in the subways.
Yeah. There's a lot of different fronts, right? Like just trying to get all the bathrooms all the time. So
all bathrooms all the time.
yeah, like we're discussing how Bryant Park has that really nice restroom situation with the attendant. There's long lines there right now, but that's just because we don't have all of our other bathrooms open yet. But yeah, hopefully we'd be able to serve the public with more restrooms. So.
And also, at some point, Lucian, you had talked about the fact that city buildings, their restrooms were open to the public. And in the licensing committee meeting last week, I guess it was, there's a restaurant, Francis, you know, is the co-chair. There's a restaurant that's going in the plaza next to the municipal building and what is it, New York One Police Plaza, that's going to use the bathrooms
from the church there.
Yeah, that's going to use they won't have their own bathrooms, so they're going to use the bathrooms in the municipal building.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, the question came up in terms of, because they're applying for a liquor license. So the question came
which
up.
Which floor? Like which?
It's an open space.
I know, but which bathrooms? Like there's no bathrooms on the ground floor that I'm aware of.
Exactly. He wasn't clear, because I even mentioned, I said, even using that the mezzanine, you know, the only bathroom I know is the one on the mezzanine, and it's really kind of complicated to get to, because you have, especially if you have a disability, you either have to walk up those steps, or there's a one little T elevator in the corner over there, so there's only
You
that
pretty much
one
have to
bathroom.
take your shoes off to go through security to just use the bathroom.
Exactly. So
by that time it will be too late.
Mitch suggested, you know, I think it was Mitch that suggested porta potties, that they might do better off having that there. But they're planning on having big events there, and they want to be there like till all hours, and it just seemed a little unreasonable.
Well, I won't comment on that, but that plaza is supposed to, the other side of the building, the plaza is supposed to have a public bathroom that they came to us years ago to present on, and the board approved, and we never saw it get installed. But one of the ones that was in the style of the Madison Square Park one,
right?
That, you know, they have like a bunch of those in a warehouse somewhere. And
right.
They said, "Oh, you know, we would like to install it here," and everyone, the board was like, "That's great. Go ahead, throw it in there, buddy." And they never came and did it.
So you know what? I want to move on, but Lucian, Mimi and I will want to talk to you about that, Rezo. And also, you might want to sit in on one of, like tomorrow, you might want to sit in on the meeting that we're having, because we will be discussing those bathrooms. What are they called? PTAs or
ATCs or something like that.
Yeah, some letter. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an acronym for it. But
Pat, can I ask you a
freestanding cleaning, self-cleaning toilets. The woman that headed that initiative initially is speaking to us tomorrow
at 5:00.
Yeah.
Pat, can I ask you and Mimi a question?
Sure.
Maybe this might also, Lucian. I know, like on paper, people, you're supposed to be allowed to go into a city building and use the bathroom. I almost find that like they didn't let us up in the beginning to the community board meetings, like unless we had special permission in the beginning to get through security. So in practice, is that really doable?
Well, for community board meetings, you're technically coming in when the building is closed, because the city government closes around 5 o'clock.
Okay, so let's just say when the building is open,
special permission to let people in the building for our meetings.
Okay, but okay, so that takes that off the table. So between 9 and
because this is going to be the same time. This place is going to be open after the city after 5 o'clock.
Right, but I'm just talking. Forget about the place. I'm just asking. I'm just trying to find out if at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, if my 7-year-old grandson has to go to the bathroom, can I walk into the city building without without like getting an attitude from the security guard? Is it something that's known, or is it only on
I think,
paper?
yeah, it's I think that the gulf here that we have to bridge is right now you have to kind of use the code, and that is, what are you here for? I was like, well, I'm going to the borough president's office. Okay, they're not going to ask you, well, what are you going to talk to the borough president about? They're not going to ask you that. They're going to be like, okay,
Right,
19th floor, and then you go and you're like, hey, I want to use the bathroom, and they go, okay. So
no,
if
I
you go up there and you're
understand
like,
that, but
hey,
that's
I
for
want to use the
people that.
bathroom, they're like, well, you can't use the bathroom. You know?
Well, that's for people that know how to use work the system. But if somebody just needs to go to the bathroom, like they're probably not going to be let into the city building, and even though they're supposed to. So I'm trying to find out,
That's why we are working on this task force to try to make all of these things known
that
to
needs to get ironed out.
Right. Okay. Then the other thing is,
CPAS needs to have like a policy where bathroom seekers are sent to a certain floor where a bathroom will be freely made available without any kind of barrier set up.
right, whether the security people have to know that. The number two is,
right.
I agree 1,000% with Mimi about the subway bathrooms, but I'll still say, because of the reality of the situation, it needs to be like taken care of, like the one in, say, the 42nd Street Times Square station, where they have, it's not as fancy as Bryant Park, but they do have somebody like managing the line and letting people into the toilet one by one, because otherwise, that's really why they have it. It has to be staffed.
Yeah, these are all the discussions that we're going to be having, ongoing discussions with CB5. And eventually we want to open it up to all the community boards in Manhattan to start with, and then of course later on in the rest of the other boroughs. But we would like to have a borough-wide discussion.
Right. Or we could move to Japan or Singapore, where there's a bathroom in every train station without any type of police, and everything is spotless.
A little too expensive for us all to do that. So.
The bathrooms in at the BART stations in
San Francisco and Oakland.
Those recently opened up. There's public restrooms in other United States cities.
No, I know that, but the one I used, and I actually, outside of one of the BART stations in San Francisco, towards the end of last year, there was, and there's a big homeless situation over there, and there was a person manning the line because there were some problems while I was waiting online, where people, so those are manned, those self-cleaning stations that you're talking about.
All right, so Mitch, I want to move
Sorry.
forward because Jimmy
looks
has been
like
waiting.
It looks like Bob's in the attendees, by the way.
Did Bob get moved into the attendees and not the?
Yeah, I think he's got his hand up.
He fell out.
FYI.
Did Bob's back? Bob, you back?
Yes.
Did you have a question?
I had a little technical something, and then I dropped out of the meeting and tried to come back, and I ended up like this.
You're back now.
Anyway, I think what I wanted to say is that I've been actually involved with this. I tried to get this on the agenda of the community board for several years already. I don't know if anyone noticed, and it never really got very far. But I got pretty advanced in discussions with Brookfield and with the Fulton Center and with Westfield, why their sites aren't open, and Spordone promised that he was going to follow up with them and kind of bring a report back. So before you go anywhere, you should find out what he learned.
I was going to say, you might want to come to our CB5 and CB1 meeting and discuss what you had done and give us some information on how to proceed to follow up on what you've done already. All right.
Yeah, because I have untold stories and stories of watching people who you can tell when someone's in distress and they're in pain, and you just go, I want to help them. All you have to do is open the damn, I don't mean to cuss, but I can't stand it when people are suffering.
Sure.
Being one of them sometimes myself, we have to join these things.
If you want to attend our meeting, it's Thursday, 5:00. You can get the information. You can either write me or Mimi or Lucian and get the information.
Why don't you
we don't want too many people in the beginning because it's a working group, but if you have information to give us, we would welcome it. I want to
If
move
you
along.
could send me the connections, I'll be there.
Okay.
Pat,
Francis,
just a quick, just on that subject, actually, for your meeting tomorrow. I'm just curious because I noticed, okay, the Starbucks that's located on Park Row, that line for the bathroom is always like out the door. And that's the closest Starbucks to the municipal building. So in terms of us talking about public access, that Starbucks gets used a lot. I'm just curious as to if there was any kind of thought, or is there any kind of agreement? You know, the city could be paying Starbucks,
well, that is something that we've talked about, is
Oh,
giving
okay.
some sort of incentive to businesses to allow people to use the bathrooms.
Yeah, because that line is always like very, it's a popular. The other one they used to have on Broadway used to be popular as well, but they closed that one. But
I
anyway,
mean, the reality is everybody's got to go, and it's ridiculous to not have bathrooms available.
well, and it's a place, it's a coffee place, a place where you drink liquids.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
therefore
But
it was
even if
like
you don't, you still have
like
to
a
go.
bar, Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. Okay.
All right. So again, anybody have any topics that they want to bring to this committee for us to pursue? Please send an email to Mariama and Lucian and myself. All right. So in the
Pat,
meantime, Jimmy did. Mhm.
I've asked you a bunch of times. We were talking about like dog poop and human poop. If there was any Department of Sanitation issues, and I thought you said that you might put it on.
I had actually asked, and Lucian is looking into getting somebody from the Department of Sanitation to come to talk to us. Remember years ago we had that great guy Ozzy, or you remember? And he
Iggy.
came, and Iggy, and he answered all kinds of questions. So Lucian's looking for somebody to come, and you can bring that topic up when we get somebody here. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so now, Jimmy, I know you've been waiting patiently. Jimmy actually did what I asked everybody to do. He brought a topic to the committee that he would like to have a beginning of a conversation about tonight, and then we will continue. We will try to get people in, but take it away, Jimmy. Tell us what you want to discuss.
Basically, I just wondering that if there's any way that this committee can play a role to try to get this discussion going about the homeless issue. So as everybody know, over the weekend, a young woman was stabbed 40 times in her own home by a homeless person. So now it moves beyond the street, or after meeting Bob, I got beat out on the street. Now it goes beyond the subway station, or a young lady got tossed down the track, and now another young lady got stabbed 40 times in her own home. So how can we help the homeless people? And I think this is a true quality of life issue, because if you cannot live, you can't go to the bathroom. You cannot live, you cannot trip over on the cobblestone street. So maybe this is something that other people be interested in, and let's start a discussion and show some attention to this issue.
So Jimmy's brought it up. I want to open the floor for, let's say we'll talk for 15 minutes and then we'll call the meeting to an end. And if anyone has anything to say about this topic, if you want to, how you would like to pursue it, anything you want to say, the floor is open. Just unmic yourself and talk.
Okay. Can I say something?
Go.
Okay. No, I mean, it's been a problem for a while. I had brought this up. I forget which committee I brought it up, but I think, Pat, you might remember, as we're a similar age, that back in the Koch administration, for those of you that weren't involved in those years, there was, before the Koch administration, I guess in late 70s, early 80s, if somebody was a danger to themselves or others, they were able to be forced to get help, not put in a mental hospital prison, but forced to get help. And there was one woman on the Upper East Side, I forgot her name, but it's, it could be Googled, who is like walking in the middle of the street, throwing feces on other people and breaking windows and going in like naked in the middle of the street. And somehow she got some lawyers to say that her civil rights was being violated because she didn't want to be forced to go and get any help. And she won. They won the case for her, and that changed the law, where you can't be taken against your will unless, even if it's been seen that you're a danger to yourself or others. I guess maybe unless you have a gun in your hand or something like off the charts. But Jimmy, I feel sorry when I see some of these homeless people taking a crap on the train. When I get on at the first stop over here by the World Trade Center, it's disgusting. But what would I do if I was in that situation? So I understand that, but that law needs to be changed. Maybe not. Maybe the bar it could be raised by the forcibly taking action of a person taken against their will. But if somebody is really like not of right mind, the same way that a dementia patient can't like agree to something because they're not, it has to be somebody like for them, like a power of attorney or something. If somebody is in that condition that needs help and they're a danger to themselves or others, I think that's something that law, and that's something that we might want to like talk about, needs to be maybe not changed, but amended. And it seems that there might be with the new mayor. I'm not sure if I'm going to like him or not, but there might be some amenability to something like that. I don't know how anybody else thinks about that, or if anybody else remembers that case that changed the law about, forcing somebody to get some help if they're a danger to themselves or others.
Okay. I see Bob's hand is up. You don't have to raise your hand. You can just talk. Go ahead, Bob.
I think I'd like to say this one thing I've been wondering about for a while is what rights does the public have? Does someone for being a criminal or being homeless have unlimited rights? Can they do whatever they want to do? Can they make a mess on the sidewalk? Can they refuse to work with policemen? Can they call people whatever they want to their face? And can they go as far as killing people? It's just, it's very frightening. So what laws, what principles do we have in place to protect the public when I'm confronted by one of these guys, or in fact chased by them, or my life is threatened by one of these guys? Even I was, right after I saw Jimmy that time, he was attacked. I know at least 6 doctors that are Chinese that were attacked, but there was no retribution. No one was brought to any justice. In each case, everything fell apart. The person walked away, the suffering happened, and the public isn't protected. And I'm confused about what to do about this, because I really want to help people. And I used to give them money, and giving the money didn't work. And now, and over the time, I've worked more and more closely with the police department, and they say, never give them money. But what can I give them? I'm afraid of them. I'm uncomfortable with them. They're bigger and stronger than I am. So what do we all do?
I'm writing these questions down, and we'll figure out how we're going to put it into a topic for the committee. Diane, go ahead.
Okay.
Lapson?
Yeah.
You remember when I was on Quality of Life, we had that organization come. I don't remember their name. They worked with homeless people. We had a woman living on the bench here on Greenwich Street, and part of her rights, the police said, was that she did not have to go into a shelter.
Right.
A lot of what's happening in New York is there's no room in the mental institutions or places for people to get help, so they just put them on the street. But there was this organization that once came to Quality of Life.
It might have been the coalition.
Yeah, they may be a good people to come back. They know the law. They know all the details of what I doubt if somebody is really violently hurting somebody, if the police can just ignore that. But if it's just a question of putting them into a shelter, yeah, we had no rights, and she remained there, and she did a lot of the things that Mitch is talking about, and she was right outside of a school, and she refused to go into a shelter.
Diane, I just Googled the case. I'm told she was known as Billy Boggs. Her name was Joyce Patricia Brown. And in 1988, she won the right to be homeless. She was muttering and cursing at everybody. She was occasionally hurling feces at black men who offended her. I'm just reading this from the article, so it's not my opinion.
Mitch, send the article out to
Well, you could
Lucia.
just Google the Billy Boggs case or Patricia Joyce Brown under the Koch administration, winning the right to the ACLU, who normally I support that organization, but they basically she won the right to be homeless, which is not against the law, but then she was doing things that also then were impacting other people. And Diane, do you remember that case?
Yeah, sure. I remember the case. I remember when things changed because, first of all, we had so many homeless people. And if you remember, that was when people were also on the streets washing your car with dirty rags and stuff.
Right. So when that
stuff changed at that time.
Right, Pat, and for the other younger people on the committee, when the ACLU won the case for her where throwing feces didn't get her removed from the street, then it became harder to deal with all the other stuff. And obviously, if somebody's violent or with a gun, Bob, they're that's another category. But they can right now they can refuse help, even if they're doing those things, and because of that case.
But we don't know.
So that case,
I'm going to interrupt you guys.
Might have been amended. We don't know what the latest.
Well, that's why we're going to have to get some to continue the discussion. Okay, it's 8:15. Mariama has her hand up. Mariama,
just one quick point of information for everyone. Tomorrow, Alvin Bragg, the district attorney for Manhattan, will be at our executive committee meeting to answer questions. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of things that you all discussed right now that I think he could clear up very quickly. So I invite everyone to please attend that meeting tomorrow. That's all.
Please attend the meeting tomorrow. And I don't know, is it a good idea for people to send their questions in beforehand?
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. It's a good idea. I can pass them along. I can't guarantee that he'll have time to review them.
But if he sees that there are 20 questions, maybe he will allot the right amount of time to be able to answer them, as opposed to thinking he's coming and he's going to talk to us and he's only going to get one question. You know what I mean?
I think anything's worth a shot. It's a good opportunity, and we'll certainly try to get him in more. But
I was going to say, here's the
first
other
time I've seen.
Here's the other issue: is let's see if we can get him or his representative to come to the Quality of Life Committee.
I think that's a great suggestion, Pat. One thing with my short participation in the committee board, I noticed that we do have a channel to government officials and elected officials. And I think that I'm glad that the relationship is very cordial. I think we should ask them to come in and explain these things to us. Because for one thing is that New York State is actually having a budgetary surplus due to all the funding given to us for the pandemic. We actually are not poor. So we shouldn't have streets that's not being fixed. We shouldn't have bathroom issues. This is a time, right, to restart the city, and we had the money for it. So let's just make sure these monies are appropriately used and the right policy are implemented. Now, the election is coming up, and I'm tired of seeing these people at Virgil's and things like that all the time, all these photo ops. But in reality, when they're up in Albany, they're not legislating laws that benefit our community. So have them coming, explain to us, and let's make some progress.
Well, let's see if we can. We'll ask and see if we can get him to come, or his representative, who is more than likely his representative. But if there's a community, if he has a community liaison in his office, Lucian, I would see if we could get that person to come to, and we'll have to formalize this. We'll have to put a topic on our agenda. So let's figure out what that topic is going to be. But it's actually 8:17, and Mariama wants to say something. Let's let Mariama talk, and then we're going to adjourn, and we'll continue this conversation and all other conversations next month. All right. We're going to have, let's start from now on having a half hour where we can just talk about whatever it is. It doesn't have to be on the agenda. Okay.
I was wondering if maybe as part of what Jimmy's trying to do, or in addition to, even or adjacent to, if we could maybe advocate for like mental health clinic or hospital or something, because it really isn't only homeless people. Suicides in general are up. Suicides among police officers are up. Specifically. Then we have the homeless issue where they're, harming people themselves and things. The young people are in despair. COVID has done a number on folks. So I think like the root, the mental health issue is a huge component. And a lot of times it goes, sort of unchecked. Recently,
you know what, Mariama? I'm sorry.
Well, like, this, who's monitoring this? Who's watching it? Just recently, the mayor attempted to appoint somebody who was all over the news. You probably saw it, like a known homophobe, to run the mental health department, where a lot of the struggles, particularly among young people, is that maybe they're going through some sort of, gender identity or sexual identity, and they need this help. You're going to have this kind of person who basically would be an oppressor to them as the head of the department. So it's like we're just, it's going on watch, it's going unchecked, unmonitored, and we need actual doctors and specialists and people who know what they're doing involved in all of these issues. The homelessness, everybody.
And Marianne, everybody. You know what I want to say about what you're saying, Marianne? One of the issues is that none of the health insurance wants to pay for mental health, for people to go and get mental health. If you have an insurance that will pay, they'll give you 5 sessions or something. That's ridiculous. I think it's hard for people to find places that they can afford. I have friends that I know who need to speak to therapists and don't have the money. Mm-hmm. And I think it's ridiculous that we don't have in this country, that we don't have some way of people seeking out and getting the mental health that they need.
So maybe that's something that we can try to figure out how to advocate for as well, and get to the root issue of the problem.
I think the root issue for those of us who have been living in New York City our entire lives, if we look back, it began when they started closing the state hospitals and they started dumping all of those people on the street. And then the advocates came along and they started to set up all these SRO hotels. And then the developers came along and said they wanted the property. They didn't want to have, they didn't want to use this kind of property and get that kind of money. So there's a historical precedent for this whole thing. And I think if we look back at from where it started, because it did start, when they closed Manhattan State Hospital, that's when things started going for those of us who live in New York, that's when things started going really downhill. And then
they dumped people in the street.
They dumped people in the street. And then it just got worse and worse and worse. And then the quote unquote normal people who were close to the edge went, further across for the other things that were going on in society, and then the mental health, the health agencies, the insurance companies decided to put constraints on how many visits you could get, and this and that and the other. It's a whole systemic problem that started a long time ago. We need to look at we could look at the whole way this whole thing progressed. And I think that, I have to give the mayor, he's been in office, a month and a half. He's got a lot of stuff on his plate. He does recognize this along with all the other thousands of things that he has on his plate, and I think that we need to stand up for the things that we want to see him, pay attention to, which is most of those 100,000 things. But I think that the big picture is that we have to continue to have these conversations and look at this and bring it to the table and do as much as we can when we can. But this just didn't start, and and one thing, and then I don't need to get into detail. You know where I'm coming from with this.
I see Mimi
Yeah.
wants to say something.
Yeah, I've got two things. Francis, that happened in the 80s, I believe, there was like they didn't want to pay for state hospitals anymore, so but that happened across the country. There was a woman from WeWork in like one of the couple of in-person meetings that we had last year that had a lot of information about homeless people.
Was this the woman that Mark had come in because there was a big party that had taken place in the street?
Yeah, the community liaison for WeWork in at least Tribeca, I guess.
Victoria.
She was very passionate about it and seemed like she wanted to talk to us, and it could be really interesting to have her come in, informative to come in and talk about her research.
I think her name wasn't it Victoria?
I don't remember. I have it somewhere in my notes. I just don't
Searching through my
remember
email right now.
what month that was.
Well,
but
we'll try to. Everybody
when
try
were
to
we in
go back and
person?
see. I'll look and see because I'm sure I have some emails from her. And Lucian will look, and if you can look,
You're right. She was at the meeting that the VCF came to, and the World Trade Center Clinic came to.
What month
Okay,
was
so
that,
see,
though?
everybody see if you can find it. Not right now, but for
Okay.
next month. And because she's the one that came because of the big party that was being held outside, and Mark, asked someone from WeWork to come to.
Oh, right. That was in July.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in July because it was ahead of the deadline. They came in to talk to people about the deadline for the VCF, and that was the same meeting that she was attending.
Okay, so everybody try to dig and see if we can find her name. And
Thank you so much,
Jimmy,
Pat,
you have
for
the
giving
last
this
word.
opportunity.
Listen, you're a member of this committee. We always want committee members.
But honestly, I love everything I heard. Thank you so much. Those are really gave me hope because you guys just gave me a free therapy session. I've been so down about this, and those are wonderful
Bill is in the
points.
mail.
Wonderful points. I feel like there's a community that cares, and people recognize the problem.
I mean, let's face it, you included. We all are volunteers. We're spending our Wednesday night, not with our families, but in this committee doing what we can for our community. So yeah, everybody does care. Diane hasn't been on the committee in a long time, and she stayed.
Oh, I mean, those are just really great points. And let's please help me. Let's, I don't know, get people in. I want to be educated about this to see what we can do. We want to let the people.
I mean, there's no guarantee that we can make any traction, but we can at least continue the conversation, get people in the talk.
Tonight was good. People really recognize the issue and they care about it, and that's important.
Yeah. Jimmy, Google the Billy Boggs case. Boggs. Billy Boggs case.
Bitch, let me Google Ronald Reagan. He systematically shrink down the government, shrink down social services, and start. That's when there's no federal dollars, starting from the 80s, like Francis talking about.
You're absolutely right, Jimmy. The fund,
had no place.
Flow of money changed.
I don't know how many times I signed these commitment things with 2 doctors, but where are you going to put the person? There is no place.
No,
every hospital. There's
Jimmy.
Methodist closed their psychiatric unit. They don't make money. They close them. There's no place to put them. They're not getting help, and they deteriorate. They deteriorate, and they become criminals. And then somebody gets hurt.
You and Francis.
That's exact. Mariana was right. Francis was right. Diane was right. There's a problem, and now, in the past, we have no money, right? Because it was shrinking the government, pull back, no more social services, right? Just charity care, like Dr. Song, want to open your office, go ahead, but the state's not going to deal with it anymore. Now that's what we have right now. So how are we gonna? Now we have money. New York State has money.
But
let's make sure that it's used appropriately and get the street fixed, get the bathroom set up, and get people help.
Jimmy, you're all right. That one doesn't preclude the other. That's the main thing over the whole thing. Separate from if there was $1 trillion available, what I'm just saying about that one case, particular to New York City, when they they took away the right for the authorities to take somebody off the street, whether there was space or not. They couldn't determine that they were a danger to themselves or others. So even if all of a sudden we have 10,000 mental rehabilitation hospitals, that one case separate, like in a micro way. So it's both things are true. So that's all I was saying, is that one case is particular to New York City, separate from all the other things that you guys have said correctly.
Okay, Mitch, thanks for looking that up and giving us the name. Okay. We'll all spend some time, over the next month, just like thinking about how you'd like to see us proceed, and let's continue the discussion next month. In the meantime, it's 8:28, and we were going to stop at 8:15. So let's call a halt to the meeting for tonight. I want to thank everybody for being here and participating. Again, email us if you have any other topics that you want to discuss, and any suggestions for anything, okay? All right. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all. Thank
Relax
you.
now and spend some
night.
time.
Thank you.
Mitch, go
Reaching
spend
out.
time. By the way, Mitch just got married. Mitch, go.
What?
Oh, congratulations.
That's Mitch.
Well, yeah,
Mazel
but
tov.
thank you. We've been together for over 10 years, but it's official. Because
Now
Pat's,
it's official.
Congratulations, Mitch.
Congrats, Mitch.
thank
I
you,
saw
Diane.
Rosa just sent you a heart. It was a beating heart from Rosa. Miriam sent you a heart.
Pat threatened
Francis,
me.
What?
I said, you threatened me in front of my fiance.
Exactly, because she's a wonderful woman. You were so lucky.
I married up.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Thank
All right.
you.
Pat.
Have a good night.
Pat,
Who's
it's Scott Payne. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, who's talking?
It's Scott Payne. Can you send me an email, Pat, with your email?
Yes. I don't have your email address. But Lucian has everything, right?
I'll send you an email and CC Pat.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Thanks so much, you guys. Have a great night.
Fantastic.
Pat, are you with your mother this weekend?
I'm heading there tomorrow morning, yeah.
You there over the weekend?
Yeah, I'm there every weekend.
I'll be
yeah.
okay,
I know you're playing. You have to let everybody on the committee know when you're playing.
Yeah, I want to know when you're playing, Mitch. You got to tell me.
All right, because I don't usually play around here, but since things are canceled all around the world, this Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m. at the on the corner of Church and Reed at the 1803. It's a really nice restaurant and very, very not a normal snotty Soho or Tribeca restaurant, and it's a really chill vibe, not loud,
I've seen Mitch play. He's fantastic.
No. I don't use this committee for. I don't need to use this committee for.
That I can say what I want to say.
No.
He's fantastic. If
No.
you get a chance to see him play, go see him play. I wish I could, but I'm with Mom.
Mimi, if you'll
Saturday from 6 to 9, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
1803, the corner of Church.
Yeah, I have to go to Pennsylvania this Saturday.
Right.
Otherwise, I would.
You know what, Mitch? If you ever have a gig a Monday night, a Tuesday night, or Wednesday night, and we don't have a meeting, let us all know, and we'll all go grab a glass of whatever we drink and sit and listen to you play.
I'll be at the
Savannah
Savannah Jazz Festival next month. You can come there.
Sure. I don't think I can get to Savannah, Georgia.
That'll be fun though.
It would be fun, but someplace local,
Can you just play locally more often so that we can go see
really.
You can come to my house and hear me practice.
We could do that.
you? Our own private show.
I want to talk to Suchi about getting some dance lessons from her. His new wife is a world class. Is it Latin and salsa and?
She was the 2007 Asia Pacific Latin Dance Champion.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's fantastic, as well as a wonderful lady.
Yeah, she's super humble.